Okay, welcome to part 2 of our imperfect, how to conjugate the imperfect. And this time we're gonna focus on the middle passive indicative in the present system, the omega and me verbs. And we're gonna start first with introducing two deponent verbs that are really important. Epistemai, to know, and dunamai, to be able. Dunamai is effectively can. So let's begin with them. All right. So epistemai is your typical my verb. I'm going to get rid of the my. And so it's epistemai, epistasai, or epista, epistatai, epistamatha, epistaste, epistantai. Now notice in the case of epistemai, you get both the me verb and the omega verb endings in the second person, right? Because remember, sai is your me verb ending for, and would be your omega verb. But endings otherwise are expected. Similarly, dunamai. Dunamai is dunasai or duna, and dunatai, and then dunamatha, dunastha, dunantai. So these are strong. The alpha is very strong in these two middle deponent verbs, and they're very common, to know how to do something. Epistemai, get epistemology from epistemai, and dunamai, we get its power, right? So this is the equivalent of possum in Latin. So dunamai plus infinitive, I can do X. All right. Okay, so now we have just a recall of what the endings are like. All right, so we'll do a comparison of the primary middle passive endings with the new secondary middle passive endings. And so here I put both the me verbs and the omega verb endings together because they're very similar. So we have omai for the omega and mai for the me verbs. The second person is a in the omega verbs, and that we've already established is just a syncopation of psi. So it's s psi on the omega verb, and the sigma would fall out, and that would end up giving you a. But the me verbs just show the psi. Then you have etai, and me verbs don't need the gluing epsilon, so it's just tai. Ometha, gluing omicron. The me verb has metha, no omicron. Estha, stha, ontai, entai. Okay, so that's your primary endings for my verbs, the middle passive. And now we're going to look at what happens in secondary, that is the past tense, secondary tenses, the imperfect. Okay, so what we are getting in the omega verbs is you're going to get the gluing vowel plus the same endings as the me verbs. So it's omain, but the me verb is main. The me verb is so, and you're going to get so where the sigma falls out, which gives you u in the omega verb. So then you have ta in the me verb. You need the gluing vowel for the omega, so eta. Metha in the me verb. You need the gluing vowel, ometha. Estha in the omega verb, because you need that gluing vowel, stha in the me verb. Onta, gluing vowel, nta, no gluing vowel for the me verbs. All right, so that's going to be the ending. So the endings basically are then main, saw, u for omega verbs, ta, metha, stha, and ta. Right? Okay. Okay, we're going to begin with our new verb, epistemai. And we'll see here, epistemai isn't really epistamai, but it's epistemai. And so that epsilon is part of the stem. And so when we're going to augment, we lengthen that epsilon to eta. and then we're going to tack the endings on. And notice that we're tacking the endings right onto the stem as if this were a me verb. So epistamain, we were knowing, or we used to know. Epistaso, but we also show the omega in the second person. So episto, which is, remember, it's epistaso. If you remove that sigma, we would have the alpha and the omicron, which would produce that omega, episto. Epistato, they used to know, or sorry, he used to know. Epistametha, we used to know. Epistesta, y'all used to know. Epistanto, they used to know. Now with dunamai, we have the same issue. We're tacking those endings right onto the stem, but in the second person we see some alternation with both the omega ending and the me verb ending. So do na main, I used to be able, or I could, or I was able. Do na so, you were able, or do no, the other option. Do na ta, he was able. Do na metha, we were able. Do nesta, you all were able. Do nan ta, they were able. All right. Now, let's go back and look at a very common verb, the well-behaved omega verb, luo. So again, we're going to put our augment, and then we have our stem, the lu, and then we have our alternating gluing vowel, because omega verbs have that gluing vowel, and then we have the endings. All right, so lu, main is elu main, lu u, which remember is elu so. We're going to knock out that sigma, gives us the u, elu, elu ta, elu ametha, elu esta, eluanta. So I used to release, or I used to untie, something like that, depending on the context. All right, what about ago? I lead. Okay, so again, we're going to lengthen the vowel a, and then we're going to put our endings on with the gluing vowel. So a gomain, I used to lead. A ga, so a guess so would become a gu, so you used to lead. A gata, he used to lead. A gamatha, we used to lead. A guess they, you all used to lead. A ganta, they used to lead. Or they were leading. Another option. All right, tithemi. Okay, again, consonant at the beginning of the stem, so you're going to add your epsilon, and then you're going to tack the ending straight on to the stem. So, tithemain, titheso, titheta, tithemetha, tithesta, tithonta. Okay, so now what about hiemi? So hiemi, again, as with the active, we're going to lengthen that initial iota, and it doesn't really, can't really tell what's going on because it's the same vowel, but we're lengthening the iota, and then we're adding the endings on. So hiemen, I was sending. Hieso, you were sending. Hieto, he was sending. Hiemetha, we were sending. Hiesta, you all were sending. Hiento, they were sending. Histemi. again, the formation, we're going to lengthen that initial vowel, yota, and then we're going to tack the me verb endings on directly to the stem. So hista main, hista so, hista to, histameta, histasta, histanto. Now the thing with histemi in the middle passive is that on the one hand it means I was being made to stand, or I stood, I made myself stand, therefore I stand, right? So in the middle, in the imperfect, then I was being made to stand, or I was standing up. I was making myself stand up. So it's the process of standing, or setting something up for myself, if it's the middle, or being set up uh, in the process in the past, and or I was standing up, like in the process, not actually in a state of standing up, but I was getting out of my chair and standing up. Okay, so the histemi is a little tricky in the middle. If you remember that the present tense is always a process, not a completed action, that the imperfect is a continuous action in the past. So I was standing up. I was making myself stand up slowly. Okay. All right. Didomi. So I was giving, or I was being given. I was donating. I was, being given. If it's a passive, I was giving for my own benefit. Therefore, I was donating. Uh, the middle. So did do main, did do so, did do to, did do meta, did doste, did don to. Me. I was showing. So edek nu main, I was showing. Edek nu so, you were showing. Edek nu to, he was showing. Edek nu metha, we were showing. Edek nuste, y'all were showing. Edek nunta, they were showing. And so that's it. Hope you guys do well learning these, and we will pick up the next issue in the next slideshow.